Look again, because what you see now is probably very different from what you saw then. Look back at those times of your life where you had pain, struggle, pressure, misunderstandings, drama, growing pains. Look back, and I can almost assure you that you won't see the same thing. So as you know, lately I've been doing a lot of inner work, a lot of mental, spiritual, emotional healing. And one of the things that came to my, awareness was a memory of me being a little girl. And unlike kids today that have like PS5s and all that, we had simple things in the early 90s. Playing in the field, playing with boxes, playing with dolls. But I remember kaleidoscopes. And if you've never owned a kaleidoscope, it was this thing where you'd look in it, you can turn it, and depending on which angle you turned it, the colors would change, the image would be different. And as a child, you can look at it for hours because it's constantly changing, right? So, doing this work, looking back at times where I feel like God is bringing things to my awareness and telling me, look again, I'm realizing what I see now and what I saw then are very different. How I saw myself, how I saw other people, how I saw situations, how I viewed emotions is vastly different than what I'm seeing now. And the crazy thing about healing or pursuing help or wanting to grow spiritually, mentally, and emotionally is that God will literally bring things to your memory that you haven't thought about in years, sometimes decades, because there's something there that you need to reevaluate or you need to dive into without the emotions of the times that you experienced them, without the fears or the anger or even the joy and the excitement. For you to really see what it is, you have to look at old things with fresh eyes. And a lot of the things that I've been looking at, especially the things that brought frustration, I'm realizing they are the very things that brought fruit. So, for example, when I look back at certain seasons of my life, I see a version of myself that was searching, that was hurting, that was healing, that was learning so much. And those emotions were so raw that although I took lessons from them, I moved forward with a lot of pain from them, with a lot of confusion, with a lot of healed wounds, but not to 100%. And if there's one thing that I've learned in my life is, if it's not to 100%, you're not there yet. You see, we can forgive people 99%. We can forgive ourselves 99%. We can be over something 99%. But just like if you're uploading something on social media, until it hits that 100, nothing comes up. Nothing's done. Nothing is seen to its fullness. And that's the same thing with us. There are things that you need to go back and reevaluate. You know, one of the craziest things that you're going to identify is that the situations, the misunderstandings, the mishandlings in your life are the very things that set you up for success, maturity, growth, truth, and acceptance. The things that you felt derailed you or brought you detours are essentially the things that redirected you to the right path that you need to be on. And, you know, I can go on and on about this, but it's something that you really have to experience to understand. And when those things come back to your awareness and you see them years later, or you see them after you've matured, or you see them after you have wisdom and understanding and faith, all these different things, then you need to ask God, what am I supposed to do with this? Do I give this to you? Or do I hold on to this to encourage me? Do you know that there are so many things that we go through? We can spend years of our lives feeling a certain way strongly about situations and people, only to circle back, take another look through the lens and see, I could have handled that differently. Or look through the lens and see, wow, I'm a resilient person. Or wow, this person in my life has been a blessing. But until you look back with honesty and transparency, you don't really capture it. You know, one of the things that I've learned throughout this time, and it's becoming so apparent to me, there were times in my life that I prayed with everything in me for God to just take things away, for him to take situations away, to take people away, to take pressures away, to take problems away. And in my young mind, I thought I deserved that. I pleaded for that. And I really looked at God like, I don't understand. I'm walking in truth. I'm doing all the right things. I'm showing up. Like, why aren't you showing up for me? Why aren't you making a move for me? And you know, one of the things I've realized when I looked at it again, there are some things in our life that God doesn't remove. He doesn't move. He doesn't clear up. He doesn't answer our prayers, because those are the things that God is using to fix us, to prepare us, to mature us, to equip us with what we need for seasons to come. And we spend all those nights crying, all those mornings worried. We look around at the world and the people in it, and we feel alone, and we feel just all these things. And we don't understand that those are seasons of tests, and those are seasons of preparation. We can't pray away things that are intended to build us. And I would have never looked at it like that had I not looked back with different eyes. And I've looked back many times in my life. I've looked back with pain, with pity parties, with all these different things, with anger. And I've also looked back with acceptance and maturity and lessons learned and all these things. But the point that I'm presenting is that sometimes we fail to see the bigger picture because we only see the emotions that we have in it. We fail to see the true purpose that people played in our lives because we just want to harp on the fact that it was negative. We want to harp on the fact that our feelings were hurt. We want to harp on the fact that, something wasn't right. We're looking at the wrong stuff. I can assure you, if you go back to some of the times in your life, if you've learned and grown and you've done the work, if you look back at some times of your life through that kaleidoscope and you turn it, it will be a completely different image. Because that image is going to have forgiveness. It's going to have understanding. It's going to have a perspective that you didn't have when that picture was originally created. And in having those things, you'll have the opportunity to truly heal from them. You'll be able to look at a situation and say, God, I not only want to forgive these people, but I want to forgive myself for aligning myself with these people. God, I don't just want to forgive this offense. I want to forgive myself for being so deeply offended and allowing it to change me. God, I don't want to look at this with anger. I don't want to look at this with bitterness. I don't want to look at this with resentment. I want to see the resilience that came from it, the wisdom that came from it, the person that I am now that came from it. And the thing is, We all need to do it. We all deal with pain. We all deal with struggles. We all deal with misunderstandings, just trial and error in life, suffering. And I'm saying all these negative things, but they're real. We are going to encounter them on this human experience. We're going to make poor choices on this human experience. We're going to deal with consequences on this experience. We're also going to deal with things that are not fair, or honestly, were not warranted for us on this experience. And in all those things, we have an opportunity to grow from them. The good people that cross our paths, as well as those that we may deem as bad. The good decisions that we made, as well as those that we may deem as bad. And it's knowing how to look at all of them collectively as the image and the picture that created the masterpiece that we are. Let's be real. Would you have that much empathy and understanding if you weren't put in situations where you were hurt? Would you be as compassionate if there weren't times that you just needed someone to have compassion for you and what you were going through? Would you be a person that makes sure that you hear all sides to a situation if you feel that yours was never heard? Would you have the love that you have for children if you didn't have your own? There are things that you have to experience to understand. There are messes that you have to endure to have a ministry in that area. And I think the more that we sit with how we felt, the less opportunity we give ourselves to grow from it. The less opportunities that we give ourselves to share the validity of our testimony with people. And look, some people may not want to hear it. Some people may not get it. Some people may like to put projection where your truth is. And even then, you see that differently. Because you realize it's not always about you. It's not always about what you're feeling. I'm a firm believer. Your feelings are valid, but your feelings are not facts. They're neither right or wrong. But it's what you do with them. What you do with your choices, your pains, your joys, your successes, your suffering. That is what creates the overall imagery of your life, the overall imagery of your personality, your energy, your impact on people. You don't need more perfect people in this world. You need real ones. You need people that see life for not only what it is, but the complexity of its nature. People that see people as humans with different gifts and talents and quirks and ups and downs. You have to be that type of person if you're going to attract those types of people. So you need to go back and heal and truly deal with you. Deal with those roots in your life that other people might not be able to see, but you feel. Go back to those times of your life where maybe you didn't express the pains that you were experiencing. You didn't tell people what was going on with you. You let the world run with their rendition while you stayed behind and worked on the true nature of yourself and your reality. Go back to that time and deal with it. Feel it. Be honest with what you felt. Be honest with what you feel now. And give it to God this one last time and stop taking it back. Because that's the whole point of looking back. Not to torment yourself. Not to harp on people. Not to harp on situations. It's to let it go for good. And when you can do that, and you can do that with peace and understanding and honesty, and hold no one with blame, be blameless, be shameless, that's when you know that you've healed. You can never go back in time and take your name out of someone's mouth. You may never be able to go back and explain to these people that they got it wrong. You may never be able to go back and tell yourself, this is how you should handle this. You may never be able to go back and comfort yourself through hard times. But I can promise you, if it's still a memory and you can still recall it and it's still vivid and real to you, look at it again. Heal from it fully, 100%, and leave it there. Because you had to go through all those things. You had to feel all those things to be who you are. But you don't have to walk any step further with any emotion that doesn't rightfully belong to you, or any emotion that you should have released long ago. So just like that kaleidoscope, look back, turn the image, see the different picture, and realize that no, you can't go back in the past and change anything that was said, anything that was done. But you can change how you look at it. You can change what you receive from it. And if you're really blessed and you've really grown, you'll realize that those times of greatest frustration were also times that compensated you with the greatest fruit in your life. So hold on to that and remember that your healing and your growth is for you. It's not for people to understand. It's not for people to know. It's yours. So protect that and preserve that and move forward in the peace with that. So I hope you guys have a great day. I love you and we'll talk soon.